Hey everyone, so due to the tariffs that Trump has been throwing around, a lot of farmers were hurt, and in response to this, Trump has been preparing to spend $12 billion in subsidies to these farmers that were hurt by these tariffs. If Trump expands on tariffs even more, the $12 billion subsidies will be a drop in the bucket compared to the patchwork that will be needed to hold together our ailing economy. Now, this is just a classic case of the government causing a problem and then coming to the rescue to alleviate the ailments that they themselves caused. This is the antithesis of what could be considered a free market. It is government intrusion and government handouts all in one. So if these tariffs keep up and prices increase at an alarming rate, or if jobs begin to fall, you can blame Trump, but do not for a moment blame the free market. The reason why I mention this is because I know that that is what will happen. People will just see the word Republican or Trump, and they generally immediately assume it's synonymous with the free market. Obviously, that is not the case at all. Now, I understand that there are countries that impose tariffs on imports from the U.S., while the U.S. imposes little or no tariffs on their goods. Now, the only way that threatening tariffs will have a positive effect is if Trump manages to convince these countries to reduce or get rid of their tariffs on our exports to them, and then Trump never puts tariffs on their exports to us. I will give him credit if that happens across the board. But if a country won't change their tariffs on our goods, and Trump sticks with these tariffs, that would be terrible economic policy. It will make him feel better because he gets to feel as if he stuck it to these countries. It'll make those always Trumpers feel as if they had something to do with standing up to China, for example, which is a bit comical. But now, it is true that these tariffs might evoke these feelings of American superiority for whatever reason. And it's also true that these tariffs could hurt those countries. If that is something that pleases you for some reason, that is a positive aspect of tariffs in your own life. But you need to weigh that with the slight negative effect of hundreds of millions of Americans having the prices surrounding them increasing tenfold. Does it really need to be said that the negatives vastly outweigh the positive? And by the way, here's a funny article on CNBC talking about unintended consequences and the dangers of having market distortions. I only say it's funny because for so long CNBC never really cared about unintended consequences or market distortions coming from the government, but now that when Trump is doing it, although I think that they're correct, it's just odd that they're mentioning it now. A little too little and a little too late, in my book. But moving on. Now, it's tough to take Trump at face value with his tweets. I don't really know if he sincerely thinks tariffs are the greatest, but tariffs are a tax, just under a different name. And the countries that we place them on and the American people are the ones that end up paying that tax in some way. You can see it already with the $12 billion subsidy. That's wealth being taken away from these people, and Trump is saying, well, we're going to try and fix this. Well, he's going to have to get ready to do that a lot more often if he wants to keep going down this road. But given this fact, Trump is really saying that taxes are the greatest, even if it hurts Americans across the board. If it also hurts a country that we are not fond of, then these taxes are the greatest, according to Trump. How can Trump speak so positively about something that hurts hundreds of millions of people in America? But as I said before, the only saving grace here is if Trump is doing this begrudgingly and doesn't truly think tariffs are all that great and really hopes he doesn't have to do this for any sort of lengthy amount of time, as long as other countries reduce their tariffs. If that happens, I will applaud him for his 4D chess maneuvering. But if that does not happen and he continues down this road, Trump will have shown himself to be yet another government busybody that thinks the economy can be tinkered into prosperity. But that's all for now. Thanks.